Every hunter knows, when the trap catches nothing, you move it.
But you, human, are strange. You rebuild the same trap again and again.
You say, this time it will work. But the animals stopped walking that path long ago. Picture this. You sit before your glowing screen. A number's read, lines falling, you whisper. Just one more buy, it'll turn around. Click. Another trap set in the same empty ground. You think persistence will feed you. But sometimes it only feeds the illusion. From trading floors to broken hearts, from business wars to politics, you keep doing the same ritual, feeding what's already dead. Why? Because to stop feels like betrayal. You build temples to your past. You pray to what once worked. But what once worked is not always what still works. You sing songs about never give up. But Gurucha says, even a fool looks brave while walking toward the cliff. It's not stupidity that traps you. It's emotion dressed as reason. Oh, and the more you lose, the louder pride whispers, you've already come too far to stop now. That whisper has a name, the Sunk Cost Fallacy. A trick of the mind that turns loss into illusion, failure into faith. It tells you your past effort has value, even when it's already buried. So listen, tribe, tonight around this fire, Gurucha will tell you what your schools did not. Learn this, and you gain one of the rarest powers in the modern world, the power to know when to stop. Because sometimes wisdom is not in fighting harder, but in putting down the shovel and walking away before the earth closes over you. The price of refusing to walk away. Your tribe loves stories of warriors who never quit. But the same words that make heroes can also make fools. Once there was a hunter named Caro. He built a trap deep in the forest to catch a wild boar. Every dawn he checked it, empty. And every dusk he rebuilt it, stronger, wider, heavier. He said, I've worked too hard to stop now. Seasons passed. The forest moved on, but Caro stayed. Feeding a dead idea, you too have your traps. A stock you keep buying, a love you keep fixing, and a dream long gone cold, you tell yourself. I can't walk away now. But loyalty without truth is just slow suicide. Economists call it the sunk cost fallacy. Gurucha calls it the pride of ghosts, the worship of dead fires. Remember Blockbuster? They ruled the land of tapes and DVDs. They could have bought Netflix for $50 million. But they said no. People love our stores. They had already spent too much to change. But now their temples of plastic are dust. And the fire they ignored burns brighter than ever. This is how pride turns loss into destiny. Kahneman and Tversky, wise men of your time, found that the pain of losing burns twice as deep as the joy of winning. So you protect your pain. You keep feeding failure just to feel less regret. Gamblers stay at the table. Builders pour stones into collapsing walls. Lovers hold ghosts and call it faith. It's not foolishness, it's fear of being wrong. But every time you cling to the past, you trade your future for a corpse of your own making. The deeper you dig, the more the hole owns you. Each handful of dirt whispers, just one more try. And soon your years, your strength, your fire buried beneath your own stubborn hope. Gurucha tells you this. Leaving the pit is not weakness. It's strength disguised as surrender. Sometimes the bravest act is not to fight, but to turn your back on ashes and walk toward the light that still burns elsewhere. And the hidden engine behind bad decisions. Why do you keep falling for the same trap? Even after pain, even after loss, you return to the same hole with a new shovel. It's not greed, it's design inside your skull. Two spirits fight, reason and emotion. Reason whispers, cut your losses. Emotion screams, don't walk away after all you've given. The battle between them shapes your fate. Scientists like Arkes, Bloomer, Kahneman, and Tversky studied this madness. They asked people, if you paid for a terrible movie, will you still sit through it? Most said yes, not for joy, but because they paid. That's the curse. You cling to pain because you hate to waste it. Your limbic beast, your ancient brain, craves closure, not truth. It lies, whispering that walking away means failure. Look around your modern jungle. You keep gym memberships you never use to feel like you didn't quit. And you chase careers that drain your soul because I've spent too many years. You stay in wars that should have ended because too much has been lost to stop now. And even your leaders fall for this spell. Once enough sweat or blood has been spilled, they must finish the mission, even if the mission is madness. The mind builds cages from reasons. I've spent money, but I've spent time. I've given too much. And then kneels inside them, calling the cage destiny. But Garucha says, the fire does not care what you've burned, only what still burns. When effort stops creating light, you are no longer investing. You are feeding darkness. The wise hunter knows when the trail is dead. He doesn't argue with the forest. He listens, and you must do the same. If your path drains more than it gives, if your dream feels like duty, if your loyalty has become fear, then you are not growing. You are rotting. Ask yourself, if I hadn't already spent this much, would I still choose this path today? If the answer is no, then stop digging. That's when the air grows lighter, because you've broken the oldest spell of all. The lie that persistence is always wisdom. The liberation moment one day. The shovel feels heavier than the dirt. Your breath slows. The hole looks less like progress and more like a grave. That's the moment you fear most, but that's the door to freedom. When you stop digging, silence returns. At first it feels like defeat, but listen, beneath the scream is peace. You haven't lost, you've escaped. The trader who sold his sinking stock, the lover who walked away from a cold flame, the builder who ended a doomed dream. They all share the same quiet victory. They chose the future over the past. True strength isn't endurance, and it's clarity. When you stop fighting reality, you take back your power. The tribe once said, when the fire no longer gives warmth, walk toward the sun. The universe rewards those who release what no longer serves them. Trees drop their leaves, rivers change course, mountains crumble to reveal stone. But humans cling. You call retreat shameful. But retreat is sacred courage. Not every battle deserves your blood. Not every love deserves your soul. When you stop digging, the world expands. You see paths you never saw before. You feel life flow back into your chest. The ghosts of the past fade. Powerless. Freedom is not victory. Freedom is surrender, the wise kind. When you stop measuring your worth by what you've spent, you start living by what you can still create. So if you stand over your hole, tired, angry, afraid, drop the shovel. Breathe, the hole owes you nothing. Your tribe does not honor those who dig forever. It honors those who know when to stop and start again. Learning when to cut the rope. The fire is low now, but only glowing embers remain. This is the hour when truth speaks softly. Every hunter must carry a knife sharp enough to cut his own rope. It's because sometimes the trap you built for prey becomes the one that holds you. The sunk cost fallacy is that rope. It binds you with memory, pride and regret. It whispers, hold on, you've spent too much to let go. But the longer you hold, the deeper you sink. Freedom begins with 3 sacred questions. First, if you hadn't already given so much, would you still stay? If no, you're serving your past, not your purpose. Second, what is the next step worth? If one more day, one more dollar, one more apology brings only pain, it's time to leave. Third, what grows if you stop feeding what's dead? Because every time you say no to one path, you make room for another. Quitting the wrong thing is the seed of everything, right? When the rope tightens, don't beg it to loosen. Cut it. When the fire turns to smoke, don't blow harder. Move on. When the heart clings to what is gone, don't feed the ghost. Let it fade. Even Marcus Aurelius knew, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason that arm you today. Face what's coming, not what's already gone. Do not worship what once worked. Do not build altars to mistakes. Do not dig where the ground is cold. Take back your energy, take back your time. Take back your future, because the whole owes you nothing, and the past owes you nothing. And the rope you cut today is the rope that frees your hands to build again. Now the fire fades, but the lesson burns on. Stop digging dead holes. Start lighting new fires. That's all for today. Me make more soon. Subscribe or me sad. Garucha vanish now.